I have an update about the 12 missing boys who have been trapped for the last 13 days inside a cave in Thailand. Now, they went missing and couldn't be found. 10 days later, they were discovered. It's an incredible story. I have made a video about the initial discovery, but this video is mainly about some crucial updates that have happened in the last 3 days. So if you haven't seen my original video, just click up here and watch that. The updates for you are unfortunately not good ones. They're quite severe, they're a little bit scary, and there has been a death. So here's a diagram that'll help you visualize exactly where they are. So as you can see here, there's quite a rugged terrain that the guys are going to have to get through in order to get out. Now, it's 4 kilometers long, so it's a pretty intense journey. And not only is there sections of the cave that are dry, but the majority of it is actually underwater, and it's really, really difficult, narrow terrain. Initially, everyone was like, oh, thank God, they've been found. They've been given 4 months supply of food. We can get them out. Everything will be fine. It's going to be great. Unfortunately, it's not. And people are getting really nervous, and they want these boys out ASAP. They were initially sort of given a very relaxed timeline, which was if we can't get them out now, we will wait until monsoon season finishes, the rain has stopped, and we're going to pump all the water out. Well, unfortunately, the oxygen inside the cave is running out. So they want the boys out. From what I've read a lot of reports, and there are some conflicting ones, and most of it's just opinion, and also how much of the internet can you trust? Rescuers today have said that this mission needs to be completed within 48 hours. The boys need to be out in the next 2 days. An anonymous Navy source has told the ABC there's 3 things driving this urgency: the lack of oxygen, the health of the boys and their coach, and the fact that the level of water in the cave is rising because the rains are getting heavier. Now, there's been a lot of volunteers and a lot of amazing people helping out this whole situation, but sadly the problem with volunteers is you get a lot of people who maybe don't know exactly what they're doing, trying to help out. And they've been pumping water out, or so they assumed, but unfortunately what they were doing wasn't pumping water out, they were pumping water into the cave. The plan to get the boys out is that each boy will have to do the dive, and they'll have a diver accompany them, and they'll go through all these checkpoints where there's these different oxygen tanks that they use and then sort of leave behind. Now, there was a lot of Thai Navy SEALs helping place these oxygen tanks along this pathway. Now, to give you an idea of what the pathway looks like, here's a diagram. So it's quite long. It's in fact 4 kilometers, and it's not all underwater. Some of it's, dry land, and then some of it's you have to do these really very risky, dangerous dives through this really narrow pathways where only your body can go through, no tanks, nothing else. You can't be holding on to anything. It's just got to be you, and you've got to be pushed through this really small space. Sadly, one of the Thai Navy divers who was placing all these oxygen tanks drowned and wasn't able to get the oxygen that he needed. So, that's put everyone on edge. It's incredibly sad. He was a 37-year-old trained, proper, Navy veteran. He was so young, and he gave up his post and he volunteered to go and help with all these other Navy SEALs, and unfortunately he has lost his life. I'm assuming that because all the photos of the boys and the video footage is of them sort of in good spirits, it's safe to assume that they have not been told a single thing about what is going on outside. I think it would be silly to tell them because it freaks me out, and I don't even have to go through with it. Hopefully they haven't been told that, this man passed away, and hopefully they haven't been told just how dangerous and how physically intense getting them out is going to be. What's also interesting is that when the boys were rescued, they mentioned that they could hear dogs barking and roosters crowing, which a lot of people have thought that maybe there's a path or a tunnel near where the cave that they are in is sort of situated. So they've got some people in the jungle looking, frantically trying to find where this tunnel is, or the fact that they might be so close to rock that they can sort of drill in and get them. So that process is happening. They're trying to drain the water out. You've got all the Navy divers laying this path and these oxygen tanks. One has passed away. The situation is escalating pretty quickly, and they want to get the boys out ASAP. And the problem with that is these boys don't know how to swim. These young teenagers getting into water who are going to be terrified. You know, they don't know how to swim, and they're going to have to go under the water where visibility is very low, and follow a tether wearing scuba gear, which, you know, even when I go snorkeling or when I have done sort of scuba diving, it's really daunting. It's quite a full-on experience to go under and get yourself sort of acquainted with the gear. I do really feel for these boys. I feel for the rescuers, their families, the volunteers who are helping them. This is such a mission where we had sort of 4 months. Oh, it's okay. If we don't get them out now, 4 months will pass. We'll drain the caves and they can just walk out. But now they want these boys out, you know, they wanted them out yesterday. Like, they need to get them out. So fingers crossed I have one more update video for you, and that is of them all safely leaving this cave and getting home. I've also noticed a lot of people talking about the coach, who's 25 years old. He's very young. And they're like, how dare he take them in? What was he thinking? That's so stupid. Well, you know, I mean, I guess you don't really think when he took them into the cave to do, I think what happens every year with this soccer team is they write their name on the walls of this cave. And they innocently went in there to, you know, do their name, do their, you know, ritual. And then there was a flash flood and they sort of were like, oh, there's water coming into the cave. So they retreated further and further and further back, and they just had to keep going. And now that they're stuck and they've got no way out, you know, people are sort of pointing the finger at him, which I think is unfair. He wouldn't have predicted this. And you've got to feel bad for him because he probably feels so responsible for all of this.